Does that work? Yeah, I think so. Well, good afternoon, everybody, or wherever you are in the world right now. My name is Sam Cook, and I am an actor, singer, dancer, but primarily I've been dancing at theme parks and in musical theater, and now on cruise ships. And that's probably why you clicked on this video, that you were interested in cruise ships. And I want to tell you my experience, because I just finished my first ever contract as a production dancer with Princess Cruises. And I just wanted to kind of give you the rundown from someone who has just done it for the first time, and the experiences, some of the good things, some of the bad things, and my overall experience with a princess cruise. I don't have any experience on any other lines, so if you are looking for that, I am not able to provide that info, but I do want to tell you how my contract was. So let's get into it. Also, just in case I forgot anything, I did write a little bullet pointed thing. So let's talk about getting the contract. My process of getting this contract with Princess Cruises was a little unorthodox, you could say. And they had lost 2 male dancers due to injuries, which always sucks, but as if you are a dancer, you will know, we're prone to injury, and it happens if we either don't keep ourselves active or stretched, or things could just happen on stage, especially on a ship. When you're doing shows, it can be rocky, something can happen, everything changes, someone could get hurt. So 2 guys had to disembark the ship and leave the shows, and that opened 2 male dancer spots. And I was one of the people who was able to take one of those spots. So that is how I got this contract. Usually you would go through a formal audition process, and you would go audition either in person or send a video, and then you'd have a callback, and then they would ask you to come and join the ship. I did not have that same process, and I'm very lucky to have been given my opportunity and not have to audition for it initially. So that was my process. Now, I do want to talk about the process of getting to the ship, because it's not as simple as some people may think if you are not as educated on what happens with ship contracts. You have to go through a pretty extensive medical process, and sometimes the medical places that you think you can go to aren't on the list of approved doctors that each cruise line has, and they all have different lists, different requirements, different doctors you can go to, which for me, with Princess, they have a very specific medical, and I ended up having to fly to Houston, Texas from where I am living in the middle of Virginia to get this medical done in time, because I had a very short window of opportunity to get onto the ship. So I had to fly to Houston, I had to get x-rays done, I had to get eyesight tests, hearing tests, full physical, all that stuff, and had to get everything cleared to then be approved to go onto the ship. And then they could book my flights to then send me to Australia, which is where I went. And I do want to premise and say that this contract was fantastic for me. I loved every second of it. There's some things that definitely hit me harder than others in both positive and negative ways. I'll get into those in a bit. But yes, so you have to get an approved medical, and then you can go to wherever the ship is ported. For me, it was Australia, so they were ported in Brisbane, Australia when I got there, but other ships are ported all around the world, so it all depends on the company and the ship you are joining. So life on board is a culture shock, definitely, for sure. It's a whole different life, a whole different way of living. You're in a cabin, at least for the dancers on Princess Cruises, you're in double occupancy cabins. The principal vocalists get their own, but the dancers, we are a double occupancy. So me and one of the other male dancers in the show, Manuel, shout out to Manuel, we shared a cabin. And luckily, me and Manuel were able to talk and figure out a way of living that could suit both of us and be a good compromise, and it ended up being a really, really good system. So I'm really grateful that I got a really good roommate. I know that I've heard of people that haven't had as good roommates, so it's something to keep in mind, that you are going to have to compromise, maybe start doing some things that you hadn't before, or stop doing certain things that you had. All comes with compromise, and you have to be open to that to be a roommate. Outside of your cabin though, life on board for entertainment is usually pretty good. You can go up to the buffet where the guests are eating to get some better food. You do have a crew mess, you have a crew bar, you have a crew recreational area, and there's also a crew shop for like simple toiletries or simple foods or candy or There are some other things in there, and that's just the shop that we are able to go to. If not, you have to get off in a port and go and get some stuff. Luckily for entertainment, we're allowed to be around the ship in our uniforms, and we're able to go and shop in the different shops on board, which is really nice. But life on board in general, you just kind of have to get used to it. Like me, I was jet lagged, intensely jet lagged for the first 3-4 days, maybe even longer, just because it was all the way across the world in Australia. So not everyone will have that same experience, but that was mine. So it was a little bit of an adjustment. You have to kind of get used to the ship always sort of moving underneath you and all around you, kind of at all times, and you will get used to it. It just takes a little adjusting to get used to it. Okay, I do want to talk about struggles at sea, because it's not talked about enough, and I do think it's very important that people know what they're getting into. My life on board, the first month was really rough, I'm not gonna lie. I did get into a big slump mentally because I was so far from home. I didn't really have many friends on the ship to start off with, because everyone had really gotten their own friendship groups already. There was moments where I felt really lonely, felt really homesick, or that I missed my friends, and it's something that you have to learn to be able to communicate, especially because I had an amazing cast manager. Shout out to Luke Musson, who is fantastic, and he was always open to talking to me. And there's almost always some kind of counselor or HR person that you can talk to. Luckily, I did end up making a lot of friends on the ship moving forward, but I do want everyone to know that it isn't all sunshine and rainbows all the time. Like, coming in as a replacement, I had to learn all the dances on the ship, so I had a lot of rehearsal time, and some of them didn't go as well. Some of them were great, but there was a lot that went into that, so it was a lot of stress and a lot of things up in my brain at all times, which I did always have the support of, like, my roommate and my cast manager and my assistant cast manager, but there was still a lot of stress and a lot of things going on in my head kind of at all times. So yeah, just wanted to let people know it's not all as great as you see on social media. You need to be able to be prepared for how mentally taxing it can be to be on a ship, and also physically, because your body is always shifting its weight and its muscle just naturally because you're on a ship. So you feel more exhausted by the end of the day, even if you haven't done half as much as you would usually do on land. Okay, so takeaways from my first cruise ship contract ever. The Coral Princess, shout out to everyone on the Coral. You guys are fantastic. My overall takeaways is that it is something that I recommend to everybody. I think everyone should do at least one cruise ship contract if you're able to. It's an experience unlike any other. Nothing can really prep you for cruise ship contracts because it's so just in its own league of types of contract. It is something that I want to keep doing, and it's something that can really make you grow as a person really fast. You'll learn a lot of things the hard way, as I 100% did, but I think it's such a growing experience that it is so important to do it and to appreciate the hard work that goes into it. Now, you may be wondering, what's next for Sam? And I'm going to tell you. First of all, if you are not following me on social media, then please go and follow me on social medias. They will all be tagged down below, and it is at @thesamcook_. Go follow me. But next up for me is another cruise ship contract, which is so exciting, and I cannot wait. I'm sailing with Virgin Voyages for the first time, but I'm so excited to be joining the Scarlet Lady with Virgin Voyages as Sam the Hype. If you do not know Virgin, they have taken away the traditional role of the cruise director, and they have brought in 12 performers, I believe it's 12, that make up the happenings cast. They know what's happening on the ship, and my role within the happenings is the hype. My job is to hype you up, to make sure you're having a good time, to drink with you, to party with you, and just to make your experience as memorable as possible. So that will be my role in my next contract as a cruise ship performer. And thank you for watching this video if you're all the way to the end. I had a wonderful experience with Princess, and I wish all of my friends all the best on Princess, and maybe I'll be back someday soon. But for 7 months, I will be sailing the Caribbean with Virgin Voyages, And please follow me on all socials to be able to follow the journey, and I'm going to be posting stuff on here as well. Yeah, welcome back. I'm excited to bring you along on this contract. My next video is going to be me packing and prepping for the contract, which I've started doing a little bit, but I'll explain more in detail what I'm taking and the types of things I'll be doing on the ship in my next video. But thank you for watching. Please subscribe, follow the adventure. It's going to be wild. And I will talk to you soon. Have an amazing night, day, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. Bye.